In my last Raptors video, I said that the Toronto Raptors need to sell high and need to embrace the tank the rest of the way. If you're not in favor of that at this point, then I don't know what to tell you. The Raptors just lost to the Utah Jazz on Wednesday night to fall to 2-3 on their West Coast road trip and 23-30 on the season. They have the 6th worst record in the NBA, and this would give them an 18.2% chance at a top 2 pick if the season ended today. The Raptors have underachieved this season, and it boils down to the roster being poorly constructed and not being upgraded when the East got a lot better. The 6'9 vision has failed, the Raptors didn't prioritize shooting, and their lack of depth really hurt them, driving their starters to the ground. And the Raptors were reminded of another one of their mistakes in Wednesday's loss versus the Jazz. The Raptors missed out on Walker Kessler, who was drafted 22nd overall in the 2022 NBA draft. The Raptors traded the 20th pick and Goran Dragic for Thad Young and Christian Koloko at last year's NBA trade deadline. So yeah, the Raptors could have had Walker Kessler, and he's the type of player the Raptors really need. Real quick, guys, before we continue, if you could do me a solid favor, drop a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And please subscribe to the channel for more Raptors and NBA content. And I do want to announce that today's video sponsor is Dave & Buster's. If you're ever in the Vaughan area, go check out Dave & Buster's for great food, fun games, and a great time. And let them know that Luca Rosano sent you. Dave & Buster's, the proud sponsor of this channel. So we are a week away from the February 9th NBA trade deadline. I can't believe it's already upon us. And rumors are going wild for the Toronto Raptors. So many Raptors have seen their name floating around in trade rumors recently. And although Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri won't show their cards until the final day, people are assuming the Raptors will be sellers in a big buyer's market. I would be shocked if they didn't do anything, said one high-ranking NBA executive. Trade-wise, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, and Gary Trent Jr., those are all guys teams are looking at, Shams said. Shams also said that Nick Nurse's future with the team is unclear. He said there's been frustration across this team, and some of it has been directed at Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse will enter the final year of his contract this offseason. His future will come into focus this year. And this is something important to note on, because for as much as the players have been getting a lot of the grief, I think Nick Nurse deserves a fair share of criticism as well. Among all of the recent trade rumors, the buzz around the OG Anunoby trade rumors seem to be the loudest at this point. On Tuesday, Shams reported that the Raptors are now taking calls on OG Anunoby. Shams also reported that the New York Knicks and Phoenix Suns have shown the most interest in acquiring the 25-year-old services. And according to Shams, the Knicks are willing to give up multiple first-round picks for Anunoby. And per Michael Grange of Sportsnet, the Knicks are widely believed to be preparing an offer of 3 first-round draft picks for OG Anunoby. Some other teams that have come up are the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies. As Chris Haynes of Bleacher Report said, Memphis doesn't want New Orleans to get OG, and New Orleans doesn't want Memphis to get OG. That's a bidding war right there. And per Haynes, Anunoby reportedly wants a change of scenery, and that the Raptors could soon enough grant his request. Now, for those of you who have been following me, you know that I've been on team don't trade OG for a while. Had him on my untouchables list. It's hard to get a player like OG. He's the type of player who just doesn't grow on trees. However, if OG is truly unhappy with the Raptors and his role, and the Raptors would be able to get 3 first-round picks for him, you have to make that move. Now, I know OG has denied that he wants out of Toronto, but think about it. If he was actually unhappy, that's something he's not going to publicly admit. OG's character is very self-reserved. He's the last guy I would expect to cause any team drama by publicly admitting that. Now, along with OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet's name has come up a ton in trade rumors as well. He's been linked to the likes of the Lakers and the Clippers, and ESPN's Brian Windhorst recently said that the Raptors are looking for young players in trade talks centered around OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet. He said guys in the league to put around the core that they have around Rookie of the Year Scotty Barnes. That's the other decision the Raptors will have to make. What will they do with the likes of Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr.? It's widely believed that the Raptors will choose one or the other, and this is a decision that's more imminent than the OG decision. The Raptors don't have to rush an OG Anunoby trade at the deadline, who's locked up for another year. There's far more urgency to figure out what they're going to do with their 2 pending free agents, Remember, Van Vliet and Gary Trent Jr. are both expected to opt out of their contracts after this season. Now, I'd rather keep Gary Trent Jr. than Fred Van Vliet. He's younger, has shown a lot of upside, won't cost the Raptors as much, and I think the Raptors could really capitalize on bringing in a plethora of assets for Fred Van Vliet, who's really increased his trade value as of late. I mean, Fred Van Vliet is coming off of a triple-double masterclass. The belief, however, is Gary Trent Jr. is most likely to be traded at the deadline. This is according to Mark Stein. And there is, of course, the option where the Raptors could part ways with both. And then there's Pascal Siakam. Now, I gave my take on what the Raptors should do with Siakam in my last video. Essentially, I think they should sell high on him too. But according to Michael Grange, there is no expectation that the Raptors are ready to move on from Siakam at the moment. So overall, I think it boils down to this. Scottie Barnes is the clear untouchable on this team, and I'll throw Precious Achiuwa's name in that category as well. I don't see the Raptors parting ways with Precious anytime soon, who, by the way, I told you guys he would be solid for this team. I think Siakam ultimately doesn't get traded at the NBA trade deadline, but that doesn't mean something can't happen in the offseason. I think the players likeliest to be traded are one of Gary Trent Jr. or Fred Van Vliet, and OG Anunoby if the Raptors are blown away with a trade package. But at the same time, I won't be shocked if OG isn't traded at the NBA trade deadline, just because the Raptors don't have to rush anything with him right now and have the offseason to operate as well. There are a lot of decisions needed to be made by the Raptors, and this team could look a whole lot different post-deadline. This is a team that needs to prioritize the future, and selling at the deadline and waving the white flag for this season en route to a good draft pick is a plan that seems the smartest at this point. What do you guys see going down? Do you think the Raptors will sell? Do you think they will somehow buy? Do you think they will stand pat? Let me know in your perfect world what you want to see the Raptors do, and also what you think the Raptors will do. I can only give my opinion so much. At the end of the day, this thing's going to come down to what Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster decide for the Raptors. But these are some franchise-altering decisions that need to be made very, very soon, and the time's ticking. The Raptors are going to have to figure this thing out very soon on what direction they want to take. And I will have any actual breaking news that goes down in regards to this Raptors team closer to the deadline. If there is in fact a big trade, I will be all over it. The Raptors could be that big domino that everybody is waiting on to fall for the rest of the market to open up at the trade deadline. So we'll see what happens. I am just as interested and curious as all of you. What will the Raptors do? We will find out next Thursday. Guys, don't forget to hit a like on this video and subscribe to the channel on your way out. We're almost at 29K. Help me hit that. And real quick, about 96% of you are watching my videos but aren't subscribed. So if you guys can kindly hit that sub button and turn on post notifications, that would be greatly appreciated. That is it for me, everyone. This is Lucas signing off, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.